Long ago, on the island of Guam, the people were starved with nothing to eat. Their stomach hurt as they chewed on scraps of coconut and fish bones. The taro stopped growing, the banana tree hid its red flower, the clouds would not drop rain, and the wind would tease rattling the dried out branches.
The spirits are angry. The people no longer show respect. We take from the earth and take from the sea, but give nothing in return. The spirits are angry. Our punishment will come from our selfishness.
Suddenly, a new punishment has woken the people. A rumbling deep within the earth split the night silence.
What's happening? What's happening?
A large crunching sound grew louder. Something was eating the earth right beneath them. Rocks from high cliffs tumbled down and crashed into the sea.
Forgive us, ancient ones. Forgive us. We will not be forgiven easily. We will not be forgiven until we change our selfish ways.
The men grabbed their spears.
Run to the men's house. Run for your lives. Run to the men's house. The chief is blowing the great shell. Everyone gather.
The men shoved and squeezed under the tall, steep roof while others stood by the side pillars. Little boys stood on their big brothers' backs and peered in.
Kill whatever is eating our land.
Outside, the women young and old waited, shaking their heads as they listened to the men arguing about what to do. The next morning, once again, the earth shuddered. This time, it was unmistakable. Monstrous teeth were crunching the limestone beneath their feet, chewing over and over again until finally it stopped. No one spoke. It was complete silence until a child screamed.
Yeah, I see it! A monster! A giant birdfish! Huge like a whale swimming towards us!
The men rushed to the shore, pushing past the women.
Yes, there it is.
Everyone could see it, a giant parrotfish covered with scales as blue as the sky, green as fat mangoes, and glowing gold like a ghostly sunset. Slowly, the parrotfish swam out toward the reef and bit off a piece of it. Then with a flick of its tail, it swam into the sea cave under the island. The men walked back to the cave with their heads bowed in fear.
How are we going to capture such a giant fish? One snap and we'll lose our heads.
At the weaving pavilion, the women gathered. As they waited for everyone to come, they began weaving, chanting, praying, and thinking. The great Triton was blown again as the men raced back to the shore. Their bodies glistened with coconut oil, spears clattering against war clubs. Down to the water they leaped into their outriggers and sailed away following the path of the monster. As the women continued weaving, they sat in a circle, their backs straight and their heads bowed. Their long black hair spilled over their shoulders, flowing together like a net. They wove through the night. As the sun rose, they watched for signs of their sons and husbands, but instead they saw something else. From one of the undersea tunnels between Agana and Pago Bays, the giant parrotfish swam out into the lagoon. It began eating the island. The woman began to chant.
Hurry home and kill the monster before it devours our island.
Finally, sails appeared on the horizon, and soon the men were climbing out of their canoes. The woman told them what they had seen and asked,
Let us help you have the monster before it swims to the tunnel's safety.
Really only chant and weave. What good is that?
The men stobbed back into the bay with nets and weapons. They surrounded the monster, threw their nets, and began to pull. With one slap of its tail, the giant fish sent bodies crashing into the reef and onto the shore. With its great teeth, the fish ripped apart the necks and darted into the tunnels. The women watched. As the men trudged back to the village dragging their torn nets, the women called,
Let us help you mend the nets and prepare for a new hunt.
The men laughed and dismissed the woman.
Stop! Rest your hands! Come with me to Agana Spring. We'll wash our faces and refresh our minds. We'll ask for help from the skulls of our ancestors.
When the women arrived at Agana Spring, they found lemon peels floating in the water. The wisest women know that only women of Pago use lemon to scent their hair. This meant that there's already an opening that's been made between Agana and Pago. If the monster kept eating, Guam would be gone soon.
Hurry! Come in! I know what our sacrifice must be. Our community, our hair. If you're willing to help, bow your head and I will chop off your hair.
One by one the women walked to the spring, knelt by the cool water, and let the wise woman cut off their hair.
Now we will begin weaving.
The women wove through the night, their fingers flying faster than the fluttering winder of fairy turns. They encouraged each other with songs and stories. Their heads felt strangely light. No long hair hung down their backs. But to everyone's surprise, their hearts also felt light and full of hope, as if a heavy burden had been cut away. As the starlight began to fade with the morning light, the weaving was finished. The wise woman gathered up the black net and instructed the woman to wait with her at the spring.
Here we will wait. When the giant fish comes out of the tunnel, we will throw our net over its head and then everyone has to pull. Pull with all your strength.
The women looked around and assured each other, saying, "We have woven our courage into one net. The strength of many has become one." The monster fish swam out of the tunnel and it circled around the woman. Faster and faster, closer and closer it swam. With its great jaws wide open, it rushed right at the woman. Snap! Teeth bit into empty air. With one great throw, the woman tossed the net over the monster's mouth.
Pull!
The woman pulled as one. The giant teeth tore at the net, but the net held as if filled with magic.
Pull! Pull up!
The monster's scaly body thrashed the water, and its tail slapped at the woman, but the woman held on. The spring became muddy with sand. The woman began chanting, "Be brave, be strong, pull." The men heard their voices, grabbed spears, and rushed to the spring. Quickly the monster was dead. Together men, women, and children pulled the giant fish onto land and gave thanks to their ancestors. They began to chant a new song about how the women wove their beauty into a net of courage and saved Guam. As the people sang, they heaped coconut husk around the fish, cooked it, and ate. At last, every stomach was full. As the rain began to fall, the people knew that both the drought and famine were over. They lifted their heads to the heavens and nodded at each other. What happened that day, how their island was saved, would be told to their children and their children's children.